Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. I am Rajdeep Chauhan, and I today, along with one of our famous guests, will be talking on a very interesting subject. The subject is navigating changes, managing anxiety, and still achieving your goals. In today's hectic lifestyle, it so happens that whenever a challenge comes across us, there are two set of people that emerge. Either we succumb to those challenges, or there are some people who take those challenges, shine, and then supersede and set an example or a benchmark for others to follow. I have with me today someone special who has the knack of turning a lot of problematic or anxiety moments into not only merry, but at the same time, bundling all those challenges together and delivering it with a powerful knack out of the ground. We'll know this personality more and we'll learn from him of how he's been able to successfully navigate through these challenges, inspire others. And I've been personally inspired by him, looking at the multiple facets and aspects that he does, and also learn from him of how he does that so very often. So, as a guest, we have today with us Toastmaster Pulkit Gupta, who is also the immediate past president of Noida Plus Toastmasters Club. He is the International Toastmasters International District Podium Finisher. He's just come up, runners up, first runners up in the humorous speech contest and has made the club, the district, the division, the area, everyone happy and shine out loud. So drum rolls for Toastmaster Pulkit. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rajdeep, for this heart heartfelt welcome. It's always uh, good to hear you because you speak from heart, and thanks for the welcome, Rajdeep.
Great to have you, Toastmaster Pulkit. Thank you so very much for coming on board and being a part of this podcast series. How does it feel to be the first runners up at an international level contest, spanning across multiple countries, geographies now, as District 124 would be? So, how does it feel? What's the experience like?
So, Rajdeep, I actually went there to win, so it hurts. But jokes apart, it's always great to be on a district stage, Rajdeep. The impact you can create, not when I say impact in the sense that you change lives, even if you make people laugh. And the speech, since it was a Toastmaster parody, it did make people laugh because it was very relatable to them. So one of a very senior Toastmaster came to me and said, Pulkit, you might forget the trophy, but you won't forget the number of people, the scores of people who approach you post your speech, congratulating you and thanking you for that speech. And he was right. This trophy sits in a corner, but the memories that really define that speech of mine, Rajdeep, that day was at least 10 to 20 people, including Manoj Vasudev, the 2017 world champion, coming up to me and saying that it was enjoyable. And I think that's what district offers, large scale impact.
So great to know that, and I think being with people like Manu Vasudevan and the likes of obviously going at a district level and finishing something at that itself is in a feat. And I, rightly said, the experience sometimes speaks more. Uh, but you're right. The trophy hurts, and but, I think that's a repetitive cycle. Pulkit. They are not this year, but maybe in the years to come.
Absolutely, Rajdeep.
Okay, so today what we are going to do is not specifically on the latest international events that you have won. We'll keep this session more towards what's been your learning in the last 1.5 years. So we're taking you down the memory lane, Toastmaster Pulkit. And the intent of taking you down that memory lane is to know of certain areas in your professional life and your career life that you have actually challenged the way people look at it. And as I know, you've actually come across shining from that aspect. So it'll be a mix of talking about both your career life, your professional life, and learning from what you have gained out of that. So the first question, if I may start with that, would be how has your last 1.5 year been from a career perspective, professional perspective, and Toastmasters perspective, Toastmaster Pulkit?
So incidentally, Rajiv, I joined Toastmasters 1.5 years back only. It was in August 2022. And when I joined Toastmasters, I was doing good in my career. So Toastmasters was never a gateway for me to improve my career prospects. I joined Toastmasters to have some friends because ultimately I was a lone wolf throughout my entire college life. So when I entered my professional sphere, I was doing okay, but I still wanted to at least be a professional with friends. And this is where Toastmasters came to the picture.
Yeah.
And ironically, when Toastmasters came to the picture, my professional life took a deep dive, nosedive. The reason is I was so much addicted to the prospect Toastmaster offered that I started finding it more exciting than the day-to-day work I was doing. So I tell people, I tell this to many people that Toastmaster got me fired from my job eventually, and I had to learn the hard lesson that a balance is to maintain. But more on that later. But one thing that has really impacted me, Rajdeep, in the last 1.5 years is I have willfully placed myself in the face of rapid change, whether it be Toastmasters getting too much involved or experimenting at my career. So I have changed a lot of companies. And I also took a career break. At some point, I was so exhausted that I took a career break last year. And all these unconventional experiments, Rajdeep, which definitely take a side track from what is the conventional definition of progressing in a career, it has helped me. In fact, today, if something worst is going to happen, for example, layoffs hit the industry a
Yeah.
few months back and still is in force, it doesn't scare me to the extent that it might have scared me in 2020. So this unconventionality of choices, whether it's in my professional life and personal life, including Toastmasters, and Toastmaster can be one in my personal life, to
Yeah.
be honest,
Yeah.
has made me a little more untoward or a little more accepting of of challenging situations. So in a better space, I will say, Rajdeep, because if fear doesn't haunt you that much, like the quality of life gradually improves. That has been 1.5 years. It has been a timeline of very unconventional decisions that go against the grain of what's said to be conventional success.
And I think that's the beauty of it, Toastmaster Pulkit. The reason why we wanted to understand more from you on this, and that's where in the later part of the podcast you'll see that I have this question sparked in terms of how you handled that. So as a startup, right? So as you explained this journey, let's talk about certain hardships that you felt like that these are the hard steps or very drastic measures that I'm taking, and you actually succumbed or found an hardship that's there. So we'll talk about hardships slightly if you can explain those, and then we'll talk about the learnings that you were able to extract from these. It'll help us understand also that how you ideally overcome these.
Sure, Asdeep, I would love to share that. So one of the major hardships in my career around 1.5 years back, which is 2022 August or July, if I take that mark, I had just changed my job to a new company. It was a startup. It was really well paying because 2020 tech boom was
Yes,
at
yes, yeah,
its
yeah, yeah.
peak. But Rajdeep, when I joined that job, I was actually escaping my previous job. The reason was I was stuck in a perfectionist loop. I wanted to for the the younger me, creating impact was writing the perfect piece of code because I'm a software engineer. It meant that my ROI, my impact is maximum when I write the perfect piece of code. I somehow had this notion in my mind. And that got me really stuck because nothing is perfect. You are all working with teams, you're working with different engineers. They might not write the way,
Yeah. Yes.
not work the way you want them to work. But I was trying to control things which are out of my control, Rajdeep. I was trying to be that engineer that is simply perfect. And this is the reason why I never could deliver on time. So it was a series of reprimands, a series of missed deadlines, a series of the manager often asking because everything is all right. So I was escaping my previous job to enter the new job, thinking that the new job will magically fix things. But the problem was, Rajdeep, since the mindset was same, despite having such a wonderful job, a wonderful CTO. I still remember the CTO once saying me that, Pulkit, here we believe in focus. That is, I will never give you one more work item if you're working on some initial work item. Focus was valued. So these kinds of subtle signing, which meant that the company culture was great. The manager was supportive, but I still simply kicked that opportunity. And eventually I had to lead that company too. The third company that came to my mark, JobToin, which was interview tech startup, sadly, Rajdeep, even that drowned due to the mindset of just being perfect. This is why I took a career break. And this is when my life actually turned for the better. Because while I was in a career break, just contemplating that I might be setting a record for kicking good opportunities out of the window and wonderful companies, Rajdeep. Uh, this is when I met another senior person over a mentorship platform. And my very first day when I met him, it was he was working from US, Chicago. So I met him around night, and I started explaining that his name was Andre. I say, Andre, I want to get an engineer that is simply perfect, the perfect workmanship. And I started telling my fantasies to him, and he simply said, Pulkit, you are useless then. And he was very upfront, and I'm telling it in a way which is more parliamentary. He actually went on to use certain expletives, and that changed me, Razi. I mean, when I realized that a senior person who has really achieved a lot in life, uh, when he called me out, no one had called me out before, Rajdeep. When he called me out that what you are thinking is complete garbage, and if I was your manager, I would fire you within 2 weeks because the way you think is not optimal. And then he went on to tell me that in engineering, something called ship the happy part today. In fact, I have my on my laptop even right now. Shipping the happy path can be generalized to simply shipping something. Whether you're a writer, ship the first draft. Whether you're a coder, ship the first code because you can only achieve feedback on what you have shipped, not what's in your mind. And with this, Rajdeep, my career took a turn for the better. Today, I believe in shipping, and this helps me be more productive at my job. But Rajdeep, the journey was filled with hardship. At some point, if I just cut it short, I was wallowing in pain that what is wrong with my mind that it simply can't value the opportunity that comes. And it was a very tough time. And definitely, I even if I have to relive those moments again, I think I want to relive it for a different cause. But very, very tough times, Rajdeep, because that led to joblessness at some point, being fired, and ultimately taught me a valuable lesson. And so I'm very thankful to that mentor who actually called me out when I needed it the most. That's my professional hardships, Rajdeep, in 1.5 years.
And I think Toastmaster Pulkit, I really appreciate the way you kind of bring this up. I've heard this in a lot of table topics night sessions. The beauty about it is, one, you don't hold back, and you're able to give that knowledge away to people, right? And that's not having that shyness. I think that helps people also kind of who are going through that phase one relate to understand that there is no, it's not like there's an end of a tunnel. There is light somewhere, and if you have taken a decision, if you kind of continue working on it, you will actually come across. And I think that's the positivity that you radiate, not only in your conversations, in your mindset as well, and the openness that you share it with. People are not sometimes that open and hesitate to share their stories because they feel that there is something missed. But the rawness that you bring it in with, I think that is what inspires a lot of people, and lets them take that plunge to say that, okay, maybe I can take that as well. There is a lot of fear in the youngsters these days to do something like that, right? So people just find a rat race, be in there, and then continue walking that path because of the fear that they see here and there. I think because you have gone through that journey, and that is what will bring me to the next question. Um, you spoke about this biggest challenge, right? And the been a lot of hardship. What were the ways how you moved out of it? So one, you mentioned mentorship, right? And certain platforms for mentorship. I know for a fact as well that you spent a lot of money, got some Toastmasters mentors as well to train on that aspect. Help us understand one, certain platforms that you used, and what were, or probably, two or three key platforms that you use that to say that, this is the thing that will take me forward. Something like mentorship and the Toastmasters platform, and probably something else that you can speak about.
Absolutely, Rajdeep. So mentorship is really close to my heart because it has helped me. It has always helped me when I was down. So to answer your question, I will just share some brief historical background to why I really value mentorship, Rajdeep. So when I joined the professional world, I was a loner, like I mentioned, because frankly, I didn't know how to make friends. I used to get offended if a friend simply tells something unparliamentary to me. It was a big issue to me. And friends do that, Rajdeep. It's very normal. And
That's why they are more. Yes. Yeah.
that's why they're friends and not acquaintances. And so I didn't know how to make friends, Rajdeep. I still remember I used to go to these seminars on public speaking. Public speaking was very dear to me, and I used to see a lot of people talking in these seminars, having a good time. And I remember one particular incident where I was standing in a corner holding a samosa plate, and I was the only person who wasn't talking to anyone. I was simply eating in quietness, and everyone was having a gala time, interacting with everyone, right? And that really hit me that what I'm what how can I be more social? This is where mentors helped me for the first time. I started personal growth mentors then came to my life, and as cliche as it sounds, Rajdeep, sometimes you just need people to infuse common sense inside you. That mentor Andre did for me, because everyone knows perfectionism is bad. But when he told me in that way, in that tone, and since he was someone I revered, it just hit home. So this is what happened with me with personal growth mentors. When they started, because I was respecting them since I was reading the content, and respect was there in the heart. When they told me what I wanted to hear, what I really needed to hear, in fact, that helped me join Toastmasters in the first place. If you notice, Rajdeep, people who join Toastmasters are actually seeking something.
Yes.
They're either seeking growth, and this means that they have got their basics sorted. Because if you're stuck in the basic rigmarole of just work and just basic life, right, you will never see growth. So as personal, when they showed me that I can be little more than what I am currently, this is when Toastmaster came to the picture. Now when Toastmaster came to the picture, Rajdeep, I started looking for Toastmaster mentors, because hey, Toastmaster has this world championship, and it really got me home that either I can spend years learning from my mistakes, or I can learn from the mistakes or the experience of someone who has went on to be champion in a pool of 50,000 plus contestants. Since you asked, Rajdeep, I have taken mentorship from Presian Vassilev, the 2013 world champion, and the Dhananjay Hitarachi as well, the most famous world champion, arguably, with his 8 million views
Yes.
YouTube video. I see something. And Dhananjay is a very hard man to chase, Radhir. You email him and he will get back to you after 3-4 months. I asked him, Dhananjay, why the delay? And he said, Pulkit, because I can. Because he has so.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I still remember that. And in terms of career mentorship, Radhir, since you asked some platforms, mentorcruise.com has been really helpful there. It started as a side project by one of the founders in 2019, and it has now grown to have over 800 plus mentors. Even today, I take mentorship. Recently, I'm a backend engineer at work. So for the uninitiated, backend is a vertical in engineering space.
Yeah.
And I was asked to move to mobile engineering, which is a very new vertical space, Android engineering. And I actually went to Mentor Cruise and hired a few mentors on Android. And trust me, in 2 months, they were able to teach me a lot about Android, which could have taken me a year. This is the advantage of having mentors, Rajiv, even in professional sphere. And mentorcruise.com, even in an Indian website, preplaced.com has now become very famous, preplaced. And there are many companies have entered this mentorship Spain en masse. So, but Mentor Cruise and Preplaced is what I know. And yeah, that's a
That's,
brief on the
that's
mentorship cycle.
I think that's more like the jackpot of things, Pulkit, whenever we speak with you. And I have found this that whenever we're talking, I uncover something or the other. And that's the beauty of talking to somebody who is full of knowledge for at least items like platforms, mentorship. And I think it's a very valid point that you mentioned that, maybe what people can teach you in mentorship, it takes them what you learn, say, over a YouTube video or over with your experience, it spans across maybe months. But a right mentor can maybe teach you within a week. And I think that's the power of mentorship. Talk us more through about, Pulkit, if you can, you took a career break, right? And for people who are into the IT industry, uh, uh, taking a career break is sometimes, very much needed, uh, given the space they may be at. How difficult was it for you, and how were you able to train your mind to say that, let's do this? Because the other side that you have come out, as I see now, is maybe a very, very happy Pulkit and a very mature individual who has learned a lot in these last 2 years. So how was this? How what was how did you manage to one take that career break a bit in your mind, and then how's the journey once you've started your career again?
Thanks, Ozzy, for invoking that memory because, to be honest, no, since I was very young in my career, I graduated in 2020. I didn't want to take that career break, but as the story goes, my manager at the even manager at JobToin was the founder of JobToin. So it was a very small company. Even JobToin is a very small company even today. It's a maximum 5 to 10 engineering team
Okay.
company, and so Vikrant was the CEO of the company, also a manager, and he had huge hopes when he hired me, in his own words, because I somehow managed to impress people in the interviews, only to disappoint them later at some point. This is what I realized of the person who I was before the career break, at least. I hope so. So in April, he actually called me and said, Pulkit, that we hired you with huge hopes, but where is that Pulkit of interview who had huge aspirations, huge dreams? Why aren't you? Why on the ground I'm not seeing that implementation? And I didn't really have an answer for him, and this dragged on till May, and things weren't going really well. He had huge aspirations. I was one of the senior people in the team, better compensated, and it's a small company. So at some point, it was around May 31st or May 30th, if I'm not wrong, last year, 2023, when he called me and said, Pulkit, it's really not working, buddy. I mean, I wanted to, and he wanted me to be the engineering CTO at the company at some point, full time. I was officiating as the most senior engineer, so it was very natural for me to progress to the CTO.
Yeah,
And it's a small company, so
absolutely, it's
it's not a
possible.
big
Yes,
deal.
yes.
It's completely possible. So, and again, Rajdeep, it was the same desk, and I was still thinking that why can't my brain latch onto the fact that if I simply work hard here, I can be the CTO at just 4 years, 3 years of experience. But still, Rasdeep, I wasn't bring myself to work hard. I mean, it was like two different Pulkit. So one who was able to think rationally and one who was actually controlling me. And that wasn't a rational Pulkit at all. And so this is why I parted ways, Razi, because the CEO wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I was wallowing and I knew that I needed a break because I was working too long in the same rut. Join a new company, perform for a few months, then get bored, and then simply kick that opportunity out of the gate, despite the fact that key people in the company are trying to support me. And this is why I took a career break. It wasn't voluntary, it was induced, but I'm very glad it was induced, Rasti, because I needed that break. And then that mentorship happened, and this is when I realized, Rasti, that what blind spot I was chasing. And if you think about it, if that person who I just chanced by on that mentorship platform, so many things aligned to the fact that that call happened. And I was so lazy at that point, Rajeev. I actually had to reschedule the call because the call was 10:30 p.m. and I used to sleep. And despite the fact he was one of the VP engineering of a global company, he still was patient enough to reschedule the calls. So I'm very glad he did. If he's watching that podcast, thank you so much for and Rajeev, how the journey happened post that. When I joined this new company, I played to my strength. And now, Rajdeep, you might be curious, what do I mean? Every person has a strength. Mine was spontaneity and creativity. Now, I love to be spontaneous. Even one of the reason I love speaking, Rajdeep, especially spontaneously, is it gives me the time to be. It makes me challenge the status quo. It makes me challenge the set structures. And at work, I was doing the opposite. I was trying to be methodical beyond boundary. I was trying to be analytical and perfect down to the T. That uh, if I was to do a certain task, I needed to know what's going to happen a week later or 2 weeks later, and that required a lot of planning. But my strength was perfectionism. That is shipping as things happen, and and this insight I got from a different coach, or that you're a very spontaneous thinker. If you simply if you refuse to play to your strengths, you will always be unhappy. So when I combined Andre's advice of shipping fast and shipping today, or that is not latching on to perfectionism, but working on what I have got, shipping, iterating, um, and combining it with the fact that I am a more spontaneous person, a green brain person, that helped me avoid a lot of pain at work. It made my managers happier because I was at least giving them something what they were asking, and it frankly made my life easier. In fact, all those years I've making my life harder for God knows reason what. And when I started playing to my strengths, when I started working in the common sense realm, um, my life became easier, and that's the journey post career break, Rasdeep. So yes, a mysterious journey, but ultimately everything I hopefully has looks to have worked out. And life is always a race, always a marathon.
Yeah.
But I think currently I'm in a better place, Rasdeep, from what I was.
I think fantastic journey to Toastmaster Pulkit. The reason why I say this is one, as I mentioned, right? People are afraid to have a break, right? And sometimes when the writing is on the wall, people just blind their eyes to it, right? So they close their eyes, don't read that, uh, and are not able to actually move. And I think the best thing that you have done, and probably that reflects in the spontaneity that you bring in and the positivity that you have, is you took up mentorship, right? You probably did not buried yourself into the bed. You took up mentorship. You took a lot of things, and I think you spent a lot as well over these courses. which kept you going? And I think because you have learned out of it, and again, kudos to the way you approach life. One, you are young. Two, you have that positivity filled in, and that's, I think that's what pushes you, and that's what drives to look at the positive aspects, even though when things are the other way around. And see, look at the way you have come across one district podium finisher. That's a feat to have. And on the career side as well, back-end engineer, working in a very good company now, transforming into an Android landscape, earning a lot of bucks. I think that itself speaks for the fact that you're able to actually transform that journey. You had that skill set, you had that metal, and you have transformed that from that journey, and being a new Pulkit. So, final few questions, Toastmaster Pulkit, if I may ask, quick rapid fire ones. It's for the folks in the IT
Sure.
industry, right? If you have to speak about two, three words on, say, job hopping, what's your thought?
In your initial years, do it, then stabilize as your career progresses to more senior levels.
Perfect. How about career breaks?
If you really think you need it, take it. It will benefit you more than you think it will.
Perfect. How about chasing higher salaries?
In the initial years, don't do it. I did that mistake. If you prioritize learning more in the initial years, in the senior years of yours, salary will never be a problem. Take it from me.
Very well said. How about being an engineering manager or being a product manager?
Depends. If you really don't enjoy coding and don't push yourself to stay in that space, I've seen very good engineers transition to product management and being happier. Ultimately, your happiness is more important. So prioritize what makes you happy. Don't try to fit in because you think it's a better path.
Yeah, you would
Both pays well, I can assure you.
yeah. Toastmasters, one word for Toastmasters, or probably a line.
Don't get too much addicted to it. It's a part of your life, not your life.
But I think Toastmasters has played how big a role you feel Toastmasters has played in transforming you? Like probably a percentage to say that in your last 2 years, if you have to give a percentage, what percentage would it be that Toastmasters has transformed my life?
So Rajdeep, it has gave me a medium to do something I really love, and so it made me happier. I don't see any impact which might not have come from other medium, because ultimately everyone grows, right? There's just 400,000 members in Toastmasters, but a lot of successful people. But personally, it made me more happier, Rajdeep, and that's what matters. I just love writing speeches, having an audience to render that speech to. I think I might not have found happiness. I might be someone who would have been a couch potato even now, had it not been Toastmasters. So in that aspect, yes. Now you say that. Now you mentioned that it's a huge achievement for me, for being not a couch potato to someone who. In fact, I lost my weight, Rajdeep. To be honest, I was very overweight. I lost my weight to be more presentable on stage. So I think that's a huge win. Toastmasters, thank you.
I totally echo your thoughts to the fact that Toastmasters definitely makes people happier, and you sometimes don't have to be so much associated emotionally, and that's when you find that you should look at the right reason why you joined Toastmaster, and you'll find that you are actually achieving them if you are ticking the boxes correctly.
That's a good way to put Rajdeep. Yeah.
It was a blast, Toastmaster Pulkit, having you here. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. I waited a long time to have this connect with you, not because of you, but more because I wanted this conversation to brew more, and that is why the questions were taking their time to take up shape. Uh, it's amazing the way one you bring clarity of thoughts for anybody listening to the podcast would be. It's a very important items that you have spoken about, be it in terms of taking a career break, be in terms of keeping yourself happier, and be in terms of looking at what's written on the wall, but maybe rubbing it through and then writing what you want to write there. And also, when you spoke about the spontaneity that comes in, and when you're able to translate a hardship that comes in life with a lot of, I think, practical insights that you showcased or portrayed, it's very important for people to, one, keep on learning, as I understand, and then have that positive mind frame like you have, to be on that journey. And I think wishes to you, Toastmaster Pulkit, the way you have achieved feat currently at the Toastmasters platform and in your career and professional life. May you achieve many more going ahead, and keep on sharing this knowledge with the world, and keep on smiling this way and sharing it in the same enthusiasm and openness, because that, I am very sure, is gonna bring a light in a lot of other people's lives who sometimes suffer from indecision, fear of taking a step, and then eventually sometimes being in a cocoon and not just coming out of it. You actually stand testament to the fact that if people learn from your stories, they can, one, learn a lot, and then two, maybe educate others as well. So I find it very engaging whenever I speak with you, Toastmaster Pulkit. My heart sometimes goes out to speak a lot about you. So thank you very much for being here. Wonderful having you here again, and great that we were able to learn a lot of interesting insights from you.
Thank you so much, Radhi. It was really fun. And I look forward to more of your podcasts with other people. Thank you so much, Radhi.
Thank you for the opportunity. So thank you, viewers, for joining us today. It was amazing, and hope you had learned a lot from Toastmaster Pulkit on navigating changes, ambiguity, anxiety, and coming out on the other side a shining person. See you next time. Till then, bye bye.